Welcome to My Forever Home, the podcast. I'm Frances Cosway and I've helped hundreds of people create forever homes. I can't wait to share the journey with you. So let's start. Hi everyone and welcome to 12 o'clock Friday. Now I'm going to be looking a little bit odd because I'm doing this live on Instagram and on Facebook Live. So that's why I'll be looking across to try and give all our viewers a, that I've got a little bit of eye contact with all of you. So firstly, welcome to Friday. It's nice and hot here in Melbourne today, and I apologise for the Instagram viewers because I keep going off the screen a little bit. So what I'd love to talk to you today about, obviously it's going to be about forever homes, is a couple of things. Firstly, it's to go through preliminaries for you to think about when you are creating your forever home, and also some timelines to expect. However, I'd also like to tell you how excited I am because your Forever Home, the First Steps online course is launching, and we are going live later today, and there will be information that goes out to you if you are part of the community. And there's an awesome launch special that I'm going to go through a little bit later because that's only for a very limited time, and there are bonuses in there that are really, really worthwhile and going to save you hundreds of dollars. Firstly, let me go through the preliminaries, but I am a little bit excited. I'm a little bit nervous, you can probably tell. There's always technology issues and so forth to get through that we've been working really hard with, and but you know it's really exciting today. Hi, Kirsty, thanks for joining in. So firstly, with regards to preliminaries, when you're going to be, looking at your forever home and creating that forever home, I think one of the first things you need to go through with, yourself, but also whoever else is going to be enjoying the home that you're going to create. So that's not only your partner, but also your children, unless, they're one or two. So you need to go over, what do you actually want from not only the home but your lifestyle, because that's really going to impact the location you're going to be in and also the sort of site and land that you'd like to create. Hi, Miranda, thanks for joining. So make sure that you're thinking about not just, how many bedrooms you need and whether you want a butler's pantry and all, I suppose, the exciting stuff about creating a home, but think about what's the lifestyle you're trying to create. Is it that you want to be able to grow your own veggies? Is it you want to be more sustainable? Is it that you'd like lots of land and you really want to get out of the suburbs and, you want to be able to have maybe a hobby farm, or you want to be able to work from home? Think about the lifestyle, because for me, the forever home is not just about the house itself. It really is about creating this life and lifestyle that you want to create for your family as well as for yourself. And I know that, as I've evolved, particularly over the last 10 years after coming back from Australia, those priorities for me have changed, and the sorts of lifestyle that I'd like to create for my family has definitely changed over time. And so that really is creating a footprint for what we're trying to create with our forever home. And that then also leads to budget. So, for example, if there's a particular location that you're after and all the local amenities that you need to think about, and as you can imagine, what I'm talking about in terms of preliminaries, when we haven't even got to the home design yet, we're really looking at right at the start, what do you need to think about? And so location comes into that, and it might be around your local amenities. Do you want to be able to walk to school? Does driving to school not worry you? Do you want to be, and I'll say this quite lighthearted, but do you want to be mum's taxi? In terms of, public transport is not as important to you, you're happy to sort of drive your kids to the station or drive your kids around? Or is that the absolute opposite of what you're after and you really want to be able to have your kids being independent? There's transport close by that they don't need to be reliant on you to get to where they want to go, be that school when they're older, high school, after school activities and the like. But what sort of local amenities are you after? Are there certain key things that you want, i.e. you want to be able to walk to cafes and the supermarket, or are you happy to drive 10 or 15 minutes to those things? They are going to impact the location that you choose. And then your budget comes into it. You might be wanting to live in a location that may be out of your means. It may be a little bit more expensive than what you can afford. So that's when you start looking at maybe I call them bridesmaid suburbs, and that is suburbs or areas that are on the periphery of where you're ideally wanting to be, that are a little bit more affordable. And what often happens is those bridesmaid suburbs or locations, located really close to hotspots, then end up becoming hotspots themselves, but it may just take a little bit longer. So you're still going to be able to use the amenities of those particular hotspots. You may have to drive to them initially, but then it may be that bridesmaid suburb, that growth actually outstrips the hotpot suburb, and then you can afford to move back in. So think about those things too. And then you need to think about your land and your site in terms of how big you want that site to be. What does that site, how does that site need to serve you? Do you want a pool? Is there a lush garden? Do you want to have an orchard, fruit trees, all those sorts of things? Do you need to have space for kids things like, a trampoline, or you want to have a chook house, or is there a cubby house? Do you want to have a if you're moving out, do you want to have provision for a couple of farm animals, maybe a sheep and a cow? There's all the sorts of things that you need to think about in regards to your site. Do you need a big workshop or office? Do you need lots and lots of garage space? Do we need a man shed out the back? All these sorts of things will determine what sort of site you need. And then it's thinking about the council regs. So again, I'm not even thinking about the house yet. You need to think about, what you want in that house and what you need in that house. So there's very much a need over a want perspective. And then it's looking at all those other things which then lead to your council regulations and what they may have in terms of regulations that may enable you to do what you really would like to do, or there may be restrictions in terms of ideally what you'd like to achieve. So you need to look into that too. One of the key things that I see people forget to do, and that's really in suburban areas, is look up what the strategic plans are for the local area. That may impact how you foresee the ideal location in terms of they may be having a big priority on high density living, or they may have a big priority on the way the shopping strip's going to be, and that might not be in line with how you'd ideally like to live. So definitely have a look at the strategic plans over the next 10 years in what's going to happen in your local area, but also before you actually buy a piece of land or a site that you anticipate being on, whether it's something to renovate or you're going to create a new home there, is have a look at what's going on around you from a neighbour's perspective. Are you going to be built out? Are you going to have overlooking issues? Is there an opportunity for someone else to actually go in and develop adjoining properties that's going to affect your light? It's going to affect, the privacy that you have on your land. So make sure you're looking at those things too. I wanted to touch on timelines as well, and I suppose to not to hit the notion on the head, but, create some realistic expectations around what you can expect from your timelines. Now, a lot of this preliminary work is going to take time. Even finding the ideal piece of land or your site could take maybe 12 months depending on, your exact specifications and stipulations in terms of what's going to be ideal for you. I know people that have been looking for an ideal site for over 2 years just because they know that they really want a north or a west facing garden and they want a certain size block size. They need a home that's, right for development or is in so poor repair that they can then knock it over and build new. And so it's taking them a long time to find the right piece of land to meet their criteria, and it may take that long time for you too. So in terms of some other key timelines, in terms of trying to find your team, you need to interview people and that might actually take some time. It might take a while for you to find the right people that you want to have on your team. And then also think about, having a complete, I'll just give you an idea, a reno in terms of a big extension and a reno may take, anywhere from 4 months to 18 months, depending on how big that renovation's going to be. A new build can take anywhere, I need to hit the notion on the head that you can create a brand new home in a few months. Some of the volume builders can push that out, but, there may be compromises in terms of the quality with regards to that. So I would be looking at anywhere between 6 to 18 months for a brand new build, and we're just talking about the building stages. In terms of the planning stages, so you getting your team, briefing your team, getting all your floor plans, all your working drawings and everything else, that's looking at a 6 to 12 month process. Whether it's a big renovation or a new build, you'll still need to go through that process. And so I think there is an idea out there that I hear quite a lot that, well, I can get all the plans done and everything in 3 months. And you'd have to work really hard to achieve that and do all your specifications and have everything chosen in that time. So I think a more realistic expectation is between 6 and 12 months, and that depends on how quickly you can make decisions and get things going for you. It's obviously going to move much faster if you've got people on board that can help you along the journey with that. So that will mean that it's not going to take as long. Now, the big anomaly is if you need to go to council to get a planning permit, and all the different local authorities have different triggers to determine whether you need to have a permit or not. So, for example, it may be that the land size triggers whether you need to get a planning permit. It may be that a heritage overlay is going to trigger a permit. But when you need to go to council to get a planning permit, it is such a long piece of string in terms of how long is it going to be at council. Some councils work much faster than others. It may take a week. It may take 12 months. And then if you've got people that object to what you're going to be doing, it can then take longer again. So I'm finding that clients are more and more trying to avoid having to go to council. And if they can actually create and design their home, their renovation or their home without triggering a planning permit, they'll do it. Sometimes it's not possible to do that depending on what you want to do. It's not going to matter what you're doing, you'll need a planning permit. So that's the big question mark, and it's often out of your control because you're sitting with a third party. So they are some of the preliminaries that I wanted to go through, and also some of the timelines. The other thing I'd like to highlight to you with regards to timelines is a builder is not going to generate a quote for you within a couple of days. If you're doing a big renovation or a new build, the amount of time that you need to give them to actually produce that quote for you is at least 4 weeks. And when I say that to clients, they're like, oh, goodness me, that's such a long time. But there's a lot of work that goes into getting a quote prepared. There's a lot of different trades that need to be involved. There's a lot of different materials that need to be sourced. And so the builder needs to get all those quotes together before he can pull together your one quote. So there's a lot of time involved in doing that. Some builders will charge for it, but please don't believe that you can get a quote back from a builder within a couple of weeks. It really is fair and reasonable to expect that they're going to take 4 weeks. And, you'll get a good quote then as well. Now, this leads me on to the exciting news that I had today, and that is the launch of Your Forever Home, the first steps. And I'm going to key in where you can actually go and view that. I'll key it in later so that you can actually go and have a look at the course information. It's at whitepebbleinteriors.com.au courses. And this is Your Forever Home, the first step. And this is a course that's been designed, over the last 10 years, I've been helping people create their forever homes. I'm very passionate about forever homes. It's very different than renovating for profit and selling and flipping a home. There's a lot more emotional buy-in, as I was talking about earlier in the week. And so this course is really set up for you to get all your ducks in a row, to be completely planned and prepared and have no things jogging around in your mind thinking, have I ticked that off? Have I done this? So this course is all encompassing so that you are planned and prepared to go on the Forever Home journey. So there's lots of different things that I cover off in there. There's a 20-point checklist on how to actually assess the site to make sure that it is going to be right for you. There's lots and lots of downloads for you. And resources that you can actually download and use, including a budget spreadsheet that is one that I actually use for my own home and has been tried and tested and updated, and it's basically a plug and play. So there's heaps of resources in there, 6 modules and 20 different lessons. But what's the launch special I've got for you today? Well, the first thing is there's a 30-minute consultation with me valued at $197. That is included. There's also a free copy of the book, Your Forever Home. This will be sent out to you. I'll sign it for you, and this will be sent out to you. And there's also a bonus module which is basically going through the difference between a custom build and a volume builder. So for the likes of, some of these big volume builders that you can basically just buy a floor plan and they will build it for you. What's the difference between that and going down a custom build? And so that module actually goes through that in quite a lot of detail so that you can really understand and make a decision about which route may be better for you. And sometimes the volume builder does actually suit people better than going through a custom build phase, but that module actually goes through the advantages and disadvantages and what you can expect from both. So the other great thing that the course gives you is a members-only access to the Facebook group. And I will be going in there on a regular basis to answer all the Q&A that is posted in there. And that's going to be an exclusive community where we can get together and really help each other on our Forever Home journey. But I will be there to help you through your journey as well. And so that is the launch special. It's only open until the 28th of February. So after the 28th of February, it'll just be when you purchase the course, you will get the course and the community Facebook group, but you will not be getting the other bonuses, which is the book, the bonus module, and also a consultation with me, exclusive consultation with me directly. So has anyone got any questions about the course or about any questions about what I've been talking about today? Because I'm more than happy to answer any questions for you. And I'm also going to post a link to the course in this page. And I do thank you for coming on board today. I wish you a fabulous weekend. Enjoy the sun if you're in Melbourne, and that's bye for now. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of My Forever Home. If you're ready to renovate or build a new home and you need help to create a beautiful and functional forever home, you can book a chat with me directly at whitepebbleinteriors.com.au/chat. Have a great day.